Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are located. It's morning for me still. Hope you guys are doing well and are having a good day out there. It's on the chilly side here today, and that's okay, actually. I don't mind it being a little bit cooler. It's about 17 degrees, I think. Let me see. Yeah, 17. Also known as about 67 Fahrenheit. So it's a little bit on the chillier side today. But again, that's okay. We had quite hot weather last week. And yeah, like too hot for me, I think. I don't mind hot when I'm in Mexico because A, they have air conditioning, B, they have swimming pools. I don't have either of those two things at home. So yeah, but let me know what the weather's like where you are. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So we are going to talk about the Hyatt Vivid, and I've got a little video to play for you. Thank you so much to one of the channel followers, Roxanne, who is actually there right now and took time out of her vacation, her precious vacation time. She took some time out to let me do an interview with her, and I'm going to squeeze that up and I'm going to turn it into a proper video. So stay tuned for that either later this week or this weekend. But she's given us an update on what's happening at the Hyatt Vivid. And I know some people prefer to watch an edited video as opposed to a long rambling live video like you get to see today. So yeah, I'm going to do it sort of in two different formats, but I do have a clip for you. So I'll play that for you in a second. And it's just going to have a few of the updates for Hyatt Vivid. So, and she's there until Thursday, Friday are her last full days. And then she is there until Saturday is when she heads home. So she's going to be messaging me along the way, and hopefully we will get some other pictures and stuff like that to see. Hello, Frenchie. How are you? Good to see you today. Oh, sorry. My mouse isn't working quite. Okay. And Tori. Oh, okay. Tori just got back from the Hyatt Vivid. Cool. Great trip until the 23rd. No running water. Yeah. And then the AC went out overnight. Interestingly enough, Roxanne got there just as everybody was in the thick of it. I guess there was a water main that broke or something, and that's what caused the outage. But it did come back on at 5 a.m. Tuesday morning. So they did eventually get it fixed. But well, yeah, not having water sucks. When we were staying, not this most recent time, but in 2021, we stayed at the Sandos Cancun, which is just across the street and a little bit north, right near Secrets Divine, if any of you know where that is. And we lost the water one night as well. And yeah, it's kind of like, especially so you get up in the morning to use the washroom and you don't necessarily check if the water is happening right away. And you do your thing and then it doesn't flush because there's no water. It's like, oh, yeah, it was not a pleasant situation at all, but the water did come on a couple hours later. Mixed things about it lately. Yeah, everyone who's been has had very positive reviews, mostly, but there's just some that, it's never gonna be good. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely a yikes situation. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the water situation was just a total, like I said, it was like a burst water main or something. So it was totally random, could happen to anybody, anytime. Oh, cold to hot after it came back on. Well, yeah, I'm sure it would take a little bit to sort of get it sorted out, so that's always interesting. Um, Maybe checking now when I arrive. Yeah, for sure. You know what? I will say in fairness, there was a water, the water it had an issue, back in April when the resort first opened about 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks after it opened, there was an issue with the water. And the same situation, there no running water. When we were there, it was fine. We were there for just over a week, and I haven't heard of any water issues since then. So it was really sad that for Roxanne's first day, that welcome to paradise, not so much. But I do believe this is the only issue that they've had in the last since April when they opened. So that's a pretty decent track record for a brand new hotel. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Frenchie, good luck with your trip, and I'm sure you're going to have a great time. So let me show you. Oh, let's just do this. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to show you this video clip of my interview with Roxanne, and just talking a little bit about the resort and some of the changes. Oh, and Tony's saying very beautiful, did enjoy it until that, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, so there you go. I mean, if they're doing the right thing, I mean, if it was a burst water main, that's beyond their control, but obviously they do want you to come back. So it's nice that they're giving you an incentive to do so. All right, so let's go ahead and play this clip, and we can talk about it a bit more afterwards.
We just arrived yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yesterday our flight came in at 2 o'clock, about 20 minutes to 2. And we were shuttled here. I got a private shuttle, so we got here at a decent time. Oh, good. We were able to enjoy the rooftop pool for a little while before dinner. Nice. And what do you think of it up there? It's breathtaking. Just like in your videos when you said that it's just, the view is so beautiful. It is. It's like we sat up there after dinner and we were tired from traveling. So we were dozing off as we're just relaxing and enjoying the breeze. It was beautiful. And what's your overall thoughts of the resort? We love it. It's so grand and huge from when you're driving down like the main drag there. And I like it because it is the only one over here. We just did that cocktail making class. It was their first one that they've ever done. We made a margarita, a mojito, and an espresso martini. We actually have a romantic dinner booked for our anniversary tomorrow, as our 20th anniversary. Well, happy anniversary. Thank you. So we're either going to be in the wine cellar or the Serenity Bar and Terrace. So I don't know if they're leaving that as like a special location. Could be. Or not, but I'll let you know. I'll have to make a comment or something on your video tomorrow. With the Mediterranean restaurant, if it was open for breakfast? I believe so. I'm not sure if it was, but I know it's open for the Vantage Club members now for breakfast. Oh, okay, perfect. They did tell us that when we were checking in yesterday. So it sounds like overall she's having a really good time. Oops, there we go. Hello, Haley. Haley dialing in from, actually, where are you now? Montenegro? Originally from, or not originally, but normally residing in South Africa. So we've got some international viewers, well, not just international, because we have many of you are from the US. Angelo, I hope you're watching. If not, I'm sure you will tune in later. But yeah, so there's the scoop, the Serenity Lounge. Now, when you arrive at the Hyatt Vivid, there's an outdoor terrace lounge bar area that is sort of, it's overlooking the golf course. And it's on like second, third level. And so you access it either through we went through the French restaurant, I think it was, and basically walked in, and I was just trying to film the restaurant, and I was like, oh, well, there's some stairs, and there was a sign that said Serenity Lounge. So of course, me being me, I'm like, let's go explore. And they had tables and chairs out there. This was beginning of May. And one of the fellows who worked there, he came up, scared the crap out of me actually, because he stealthily came up behind me and said, oh, good morning or hola. And it's like, oh, but
Yeah, he said they were just waiting on some equipment and then they were going to open it. So I don't know if they're still waiting on it. I mean, you know what it's like with sometimes with supplies, it can be extremely delayed or whatever. Or as Roxanne suggested, maybe that's what they're doing with the Serenity Lounges. They're just going to use it for, candlelight dinners and stuff like that. So it's hard to say what their overall plans are. I do very much get the sense that management at this property is they are open to change. And despite what the plans are, the original plan for an area, for a bar, for a restaurant, they seem to be very flexible about it and kind of changeable depending on what the majority of their guests are wanting or needing. So yeah, and I do know as well that just looking at the app yesterday, that the rooftop restaurant is also serving food at lunch. Not sure what kind. So Roxanne, if you're there, maybe let us know, or Frenchie, when you get there, let us know. Yeah, definitely good to know about the Vantage breakfast. I'm sure that'll be amazing. And so one of the things that she did mention as well, that Roxanne mentioned, is the portions are on the smaller side. So as I had said, hello, Angelo, how are you? Hope you're not driving again. So she said she just ordered a bunch of stuff, so she loved that the portions are smaller, because then she was able to try many different things. Like I said, she got there Monday. She's leaving Saturday, I think maybe early. I'm not really sure what time her flight is, but for 5 nights, that's not a lot of time to try Mexican, Italian, French, Japanese, Mediterranean. Was there another one? I think that's it. What is the 2 on that side? Oh, and the Mexican. Did I say that? So I think there's like 6 or 7 a la carte dining options. So it's nice to be able to order multiple different courses. I'm curious as well if they're having more food available on the menu. That because when we were there, what you saw on the online menu and what you got on the paper menu when you walked in was like online, and like the list was very small when you actually got there, because again, they were still getting the kitchen staff up to speed and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm curious about that. So I might message Roxanne while she's there and see what the scoop is with the menus. Oh yes, Carlos. Drink is called a Mexican Recharge. Oh wow. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'd love to know what's in it. Roxanne said he made her husband some kind of Mexican chocolate drink, I think it was. And she said it was absolutely delicious, but he wouldn't tell her what was in it. It was a proprietary secret, I guess. So yeah. Oh, wings and fries. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it was always sort of planned to be more casual fare, like sort of American style food, smash burgers, which I was really looking forward to. I mean, I know it's Mexico, and the tacos from the taco truck were amazing. So was the ceviche, but sometimes you just want a smash burger, right? Angelo, oh, you're working in the office today. Okay. Oh, in the office. Wow. The app, yeah, the app definitely had more options. So this is what I'm curious about. Have they reached the point where the kitchen staff are more comfortable with everything? Oh, Tony's saying pretty full menus. Okay. Yeah, and let me see here. So, Tony, did you notice, like, comparing the online menu to what they presented you with at the restaurant, were the menus fairly similar, or was it, like 5 items instead of 10? Because that was certainly, I think, Angela, you'd agree, Dean, When we were there, it was quite limited. Like I think the Mexican restaurant literally did have just 5 items on the menu. So I mean, it was good. It was very good food, especially the oh, Dean, what did you have? Oh, some kind of special. It was like pulled pork or something, or slow braised beef, I think. Oh, I would tell you either. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's his trade secret, right? But he is very good at what he does. I forget where he was from, which resort he came from. Angelo, maybe you recall. I know Angelo spoke to all the staff. And yeah, like 4 or 5 entrees. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was very limited. So Tony, yeah, what was your experience? Was it quite a bit more than that? Oops, Angelo. Yeah, a couple of appetizers, a couple of desserts. Yeah, it was pretty limited that way. Oh, yeah. I know, right? Like every hotel has got their own app, or hotel chain anyways. Every cruise line has their own app. It gets a bit crazy. Was it a friend of ours was saying that for one cruise they did last year or the year before, they had to download like 4 or 5 apps just to take the cruise. So it's kind of brutal. Breathless Cancun Soul. Oh, okay. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was that or a secrets property. I thought maybe you had said impressions or something like that, but I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, the braised ribs and the mole sauce. That was incredible. So tender. Yeah, it was very, very yummy food for sure. Oh, yeah. Not many desserts, Japanese and Italian were great options. I honestly, and I stand by this, the Japanese restaurant was my least favorite out of all of them. Now, funny enough, Roxanne had reservations for, and I should point out, you don't need reservations, but they do allow you to make reservations. So if you have a very specific time that you want to eat, then you can make advance reservations. But otherwise, you just show up, and if it's busy, they give you a pager. There's bars everywhere, so you can always get a drink. And usually, by the time you're finished your beverage, the table's ready, so that makes it easy. But yeah, I will say the Japanese was my least favorite, but Roxanne ate there last night, and I've already seen her Facebook posts that it looks like she really enjoyed it. So, oh, hello, Christian. Yeah, so quite interesting. And then what is she? Oh, so yeah. So happy anniversary, by the way, to Roxanne and her husband. 20 years. So that's always nice to be able to celebrate. And part of the reason they chose this resort for their anniversary. But I'm curious to hear how their dinner goes with the on the Serenity Lounge. I know it's. I think she said he's having the prime rib, and she's having some kind of vegetable dish, so that should be interesting. Oh, yeah. So when Roxanne got there, she said actually they went into the Vantage Club Lounge and they were doing their check-in and stuff, and just having a welcome drink or a drink to kind of ease into the resort. And she did say there were quite a few people that were changing hotels. But yeah, the whole packing and packing thing. I mean, Tammy, I think you and I would be we would consider that like a Yahoo opportunity. But if I was there with my husband, I think he would be more inclined to just stay. Oh yeah. Frenchie's celebrating a birthday there. Balloons and maybe roses. Yes, definitely. Message them through Facebook is what I would recommend. And yeah. Yay, another opportunity to see another resort, another room video, more information. Yay. That would definitely be my situation. Yeah, Frenchie, they can definitely do that. They can definitely help hook you up with flowers and stuff like that. Yeah, just I would, like I said, recommend messaging them through Facebook. Seems to be the way I've had the most success in connecting with resorts. or call them. I know the staff are very fluent in English, so that was not a problem. Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah, well, good luck with it, and happy early birthday. So oh yeah, finish unpacking. Yeah, the unpacking is like the worst. I don't know if I hate packing or unpacking the most. Unpacking's pretty easy because it's just like lights, darks, all going in the wash. But yeah, it's the packing I find annoying because it's just, I mean, I know what I'm gonna take. I've got my set of, resort casual clothes and stuff like that. So that's all pretty much predetermined. But it's a case of choosing which outfits I want. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. That's kind of why I want to do another. I want to do a. Oh, it's your wife's birthday. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because Pierre, I think, if I recall correctly, is your name because you won one of my trivia prizes that I did a few months ago. Yeah, they can definitely help hook you up. Where was I going with this? Trying to think. Lost my train of thought. That's okay. Yeah, total blank. Shiny red ball. What am I talking about? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, the resort is great. And it sounds like there's been a few changes. Like she said, they had the cocktail lesson yesterday, yesterday that they did. And she said they were in tears. They were laughing so hard. It was not Carlos who did the cocktail lesson. It was actually Roger and the activities team. So you'll recall them from when you were there, or if you're not there yet, then you'll see them when you get there. They are a hoot, and they do a lot to try to keep everybody active and participating and stuff like that. So definitely yeah, definitely some new stuff going on. So the cocktail thing, she hasn't seen anything about the pottery or the pastry classes. So I'm not sure what the delay is or what the issue is, but clearly there is something because whether they were going to contract somebody to come in and do it and they're having problems. I mean, look, every country in the world's got staffing shortages. So maybe that's what the issue is. I don't really know, but I'm excited for when they finally do have those classes because that's definitely something that I was excited to do. And it was something that Roxanne was hoping that they would have. So hopefully they can pull it together before the end of the week and for you, Frenchie, when you guys go. So yeah, we shall see. But anyways, okay, we're going to move on from this topic. So thanks for tuning in if you were just wondering about the Hyatt Vivid, but we are going to move on. And if you have any other questions, if you're going to the Hyatt Vivid, jot them down below because, like I said, I can message Roxanne while she's there for the rest of the week and just see if there's see if she can get the information for us. I mean, I don't want to bother her too much while she's on vacation, but she's posting fast and furiously, frequently anyways, on Facebook. So it sounds like she's having a really good time. And she's over at the beach club today, and she's already posted photos and videos. So yeah, she's making the most for her vacation, that's for sure. Okay, so there's been a lot of news lately regarding some cruisers that were abandoned up in Alaska, in remote Alaska. Well, it's a major cruise stop, so I don't know exactly how remote it is. But what was interesting, so when the story first came out, okay, let me backtrack. So the gist of it was this particular story pertains to a Norwegian cruise line cruise up to Alaska. Obviously departed from Seattle to go up to Alaska. It was meant to stop the cruise did stop in Victoria on the way back. And these passengers got off the ship to do an excursion. They were waiting and this is what I've read, so it's all secondhand information. Apparently they were waiting to get the bus back to the ship, and the tour operator let people onto the bus without checking their tickets. And so some people got on the bus that perhaps shouldn't have gone on the bus, and the bus then was full. So this family, if I believe it was 9, who are part of a group of, I think, a larger group of 15 or 20 family group, they were told, well, you're not going to fit on this bus, so you have to wait for the next one. But no other bus arrived. So then they got to the ship. It was late. And as they got to the ship had already started pulling away, and the cruise ship left without them. They had to then get accommodations and flights and stuff like that, and they weren't able to get to Victoria. So the next day they were sailing Glacier Bay, apparently, and then the day after that they would have been going into Victoria, and that would have completed their what's it called? It's the Passenger Act thing, where it used to be called, I think, the Jones Act, where it was all created for shipping, and it was so that they could manage ships coming in from other places. It was basically to protect trade. And so the gist of it is, if you leave from the US, then you have to visit a different country before coming back to the US, or you're in violation of this act. Now, during COVID, when Canada wouldn't let anybody cruise, even though the rest of the world had pretty much all reopened up for cruising, at one point the US threatened that they were going to change that act so that they no longer had to stop in Canada. And this would have severely impacted the tourism into Victoria. Yeah, thanks. So ultimately, I don't think they permanently, they maybe, I think, did a temporary change to the act in, I think it was 2021. And then for 2022, they opened it up again. But in the meantime, so anyways, now you do have to still go to an alternate country before coming back to the US. And I think it's the same for Canada. If you depart from Vancouver, for example, then you couldn't just go to Victoria and sail around the island. You have to actually go to the US or another country. And well, where else would you go? I mean, I guess you could sail all the way down to Mexico, but that's an awful long ways. Anyway, so blah, blah, blah. This family, they couldn't make it to Victoria, so they flew back to Seattle, where they were able to collect their belongings and stuff like that. It cost them like $800 each or something as a penalty for violating the Jones Act. And then they also had to pay for their accommodations and the flights and all that kind of stuff. Now, you will have heard people say that that's why they always only ever book an excursion through the cruise line. Because with the cruise line, a lot of people believe that the cruise ship will wait for you. This is categorically false. Full stop. They will wait for you if they can. They will wait for you if you're not too far away. If you're not booked on a cruise excursion and you're not too far away, they will also try to wait for you. I mean, they're not going to be jerks about it. They're going to make an effort to wait for you. However, in this case, they felt that they were too far away or whatever. I mean, back in April, there was another cruise where people were on a train excursion and there was a landslide. And so it was going to be ages before they were going to, cabotage. Interesting. Somebody's doing their little Google searching. Thank you. So in that instance with the landslide, basically the cruise ship said, well, like, we can't stay another night or else we're going to screw up the rest of our itinerary. So they left. If you're booked on a cruise line excursion and you don't make it back in time and the ship does have to leave without you, the difference is, booked through a cruise line, they will pay for your accommodation and to get you to the next port of call. With a non-cruise line excursion, you're on your own. So if you don't make it back, unless that tour operator has some guarantee, then you're on the hook for those expenses. Yeah. So yeah, this is exactly it. So the latest update on this is that, in fact, Norwegian Cruise Line is apparently going to reimburse them for not just their out-of-pocket expenses once they get the receipts, but Norwegian's also given them a future cruise credit and is reimbursing them for the last 2 days of their cruise, which they weren't able to partake in. So the cruise line's doing right by the guests. But here's a couple of things that I want you to consider. If the cruise line is booking a tour, let's say, for example, it's just a hop on, hop off tour. I mean, there obviously aren't those in Alaska, but Barcelona, Venice, Seattle, wherever there are those hop on, hop off tours. So let's just say, for example, you book one of those. Well, if you book it through the cruise line, you're going to pay, whatever the price is. If you book it outside of the cruise line, you're probably going to pay less. But of course, you don't have that guarantee. But here's the thing. If I book it and I'm not going through the cruise line, I'm going to pay less, but I'm on the same bus as the people who are paid more and are guaranteed. So how much of a risk is it really? I mean, just something to consider about. Yeah, it is good when they take the extra time to try to do right by them, for sure. So I think it's great. Yeah, Delta could learn. I think a lot of companies could learn a lot from it. But here's something I want to share with you. Okay, so where this all took place was in Ketchikan. And I just brushed up on a couple of different articles prior to coming on live. Here's the thing. The excursion that they did, like, I wasn't sure where they had gone. I thought maybe to see one of the glaciers or something quite far away. But in fact, they had done the lumberjack tour, the lumberjack show. If you've been to Ketchikan, you'll understand where I'm going with this. So here's a map of Ketchikan. So you can see in red, that is where the lumberjack show is. And if you look to that gray pin, and I don't have the distance on here. Let me just quickly pull that up. So Ketchikan. I love this. Somebody's already figured it out. Yeah. So let's see here. Open in maps. Okay, so I just want to be specific for you here. Okay, so I've pulled up the lumberjack show, and we want to go to the Ketchikan cruise ship dock. Now, so I've just pulled this up on Google Maps, and I should have done a visual for you on this one. The distance, if you go from the red pin and you walk up past the little teal pin, the Discovery Center, and then you walk up onto, what's that called? Front Street, and you walk all the way almost to Annabelle's Chowder House, and then walk back along the cruise ship docks. That is literally what they call it, 0.4 miles, or an 8-minute walk. So riddle me this. If you're half a mile from the cruise ship port, an 8-minute walk, and that's assuming you go the long way around. 8-minute walk. If you don't do the 8-minute walk, you're going to miss your cruise. All your medicine, your passports, your belongings, your clothing, everything is on the ship that you need to get you through the next 2 days. So 8-minute walk for all your stuff. Stay there and wait for a bus and not have anything, and the cruise ship leaves without you. What would you do? I mean, perhaps the article I read was incorrect. I mean, it's got to, because does not get to park right at the same dock. Oh, they are? Okay. But you know what? When we were there in Cancun and we were walking around in port, we walked past the NCL Joy. And I know this because Dean's Wi-Fi kicked in, because we had ridden on the inaugural and we all had free Wi-Fi. So, don't share that information. But yeah, it was like literally right beside our ship. So unless it's changed, or maybe certain days it has to dock somewhere else, I don't know. But to me, that's where I was just like, this makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, okay. Hey, Lindsay, thanks for tuning in. So yeah, you're saying the same thing. Yeah, like that would be my logic as well. At Ward Cove. Park. I don't think park is the right word for a cruise ship. Just kidding. I got a teaser, right? Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, okay. That's right. It's 15-minute walk. Okay. Well, so either way, like, or you know what? You put on your big girl pants and you call a taxi. Like, I don't know if you know what the all aboard time is. And let's be clear, if they leave the port at 5 p.m., all aboard at latest is 4 p.m. So if you're getting close to 4 p.m. and there's no bus, like I said, like, wouldn't you take action? I don't know. And then maybe you get on the ship and you ask for reimbursement for the taxi. Like, I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know. I read the story. Initially it was reported that they were not on a cruise line tour, but in later articles it said that they very specifically were. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it boggles my mind. It's sort of like, if you've got a plane, if you're taking a flight and your flight leaves at 10 a.m. and your boarding time is 9:15, usually about 45 minutes prior to takeoff, and you're getting close to 9:15 and you're not at your gate, would you not like try to expedite yourself there? Like, ask somebody at the airport to give you a ride or something. Like, I don't know. To me, it's made worldwide news. But when you take a look at the facts, it's like, what else is going on here? Like, did they do it on purpose just to get in the news? I don't know. Like, the story has gone viral. So what was their intention? I don't know. But anyways, those are my thoughts. I don't know. Do you agree or disagree? Like, would you throw some money at the problem to fix it? I would. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to be stuck without having, most importantly, my passport. Okay. Because with your passport, you got a credit card, you get a passport, you're good to go. You can buy the rest of the stuff, you can take care of it, whatever. But at least you can get back to where you need to get to. But I don't know, especially if you've got medications on board that you have to take. And again, they were saying, well, they had all their medications, so they had to quit all their meds like cold turkey. Well, surely in Ketchikan, there's a pharmacy. Surely they have doctors in Alaska. Like, it's not like you're in the middle of nowhere. it is civilization. So, surely you could have gotten an emergency prescription. Surely a pharmacy could have filled this for you. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it just there's a lot of holes to that story, I think. But anyways, yeah. So moving on. I could talk about that one for hours, days, probably. But I think y'all know what I think about it. But anyways, so there was a big explosion yesterday morning in Yellowstone. They actually had one of the, I don't know if you want to call it geysers, reasonably close to Old Faithful, blew, like massive plume. People were running for their lives, not because of the way it exploded, but because of the not the shrapnel, but the rocks and stuff like that. When the force of the geyser came up, it blew a lot of rocks and stuff like that into the air. So you can imagine them shooting up, and they're gonna, when they land, ow. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, true. Well, yeah, but again, surely they could have gone to a hospital or to a doctor and gotten a new prescription. I mean, like, unless it's, oh, okay. Yeah, certain medications, for sure. I mean, I don't know what would be restricted, but I mean, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Totally get it. So if you haven't seen this, just Google go into YouTube and search for the explosion at Yellowstone, and the footage is pretty amazing, and it just goes to show that you just never know what's going to happen. So yeah, so always have insurance, travel insurance, medical insurance. But it didn't sound like there were any injuries, so that's all good. They have shut down parts of the park now, so there's a bunch of geologists who are in there investigating what happened. But there's basically, there's a big series of sort of underground, they're not pipes, but it's underground waterways, and they figured that there was just a buildup. There's perhaps a blockage, and the pressure, there was too much pressure, and eventually that's what exploded. But yeah, if you see any of the videos, yeah, I mean, it's awe. I was awestruck when I watched it. It was pretty, and you could tell that people were very, very scared. So, like I said, fortunately, it didn't turn out to be worse than it could have been. But yeah, interesting to note. Okay, so moving on, Barcelona cruise tax. So if you are cruising into Barcelona, it's interesting because right now they are charging €7 per person on a cruise ship to go into port, and they're concerned about the amount of over tourism, and this is happening a lot in Europe. And for me personally, this has got me thinking. I mean, I've always done the Mexico trips and stuff like that, and that part of the reason for that was just for me to research it and to share, for all the years that I've been booking travel as well as so many destination weddings, that it doesn't help me. It didn't help me when I was selling weddings to take a vacation to France when I'm trying to sell brides and just vacationers to Mexico. But now I'm a bit worried that that ship has sailed. No, just kidding. But now I'm concerned that a lot of these places are starting to clamp down on the over tourism. And so, like I said, in Barcelona, they're currently charging €7 per passenger for arriving into port for less than 12 hours. And they are talking about a substantial increase to that. So, of course, what that's going to mean is if you take a cruise and you start, finish, or stop in Barcelona, that your cruise taxes portion of your cruise is going to increase. So, it's hard to say what's going to happen with that. But the biggest issue is what I guess most of these cities are complaining about is that you have people who, again, they're booking the cruise line tour because they don't want to get abandoned. And so what's happening is the money and profits, by and large, are staying with the cruise line. And then the people are going on these tours and they're seeing a bunch of stuff, but they're not necessarily shopping. They're not necessarily spending money on food or drinks. They'll get back on board the ship because they've prepaid for their food and drinks. So it's affecting these ports, and as much as having, this massive influx of, you look at some of the Royal Caribbean ships or the MSC ships, it could be 6,000 passengers, and probably not all 6,000 of them are going to get off into the port. But let's say half of them do. That's still 3,000 extra people walking around for a set duration of hours. And if they're not contributing to the local economy through, making purchases, buying things, buying food or drinks, then they're kind of just taking up space. So this is why a lot of these cities are getting annoyed and frustrated. And so they're starting to increase the taxes so that at least there are some revenues from it. So that is something that could be happening. And again, where I'm going with this is it's making me think like right now is the time to be going to some of these places before they really increase the taxes or before they say, sorry, this is off limits to tourists altogether. You want to go into this gallery, you need to show national ID that you are a resident of the country. Like that would be frustrating. I'm in my 50s to have not seen a lot of Europe and to be wanting to see it, and now all of a sudden have that be shut down because of the over-tourism. I mean, that would be severely disappointing. Moving on to Venice. Venice is also talking about doubling their tourism tax. And this is not just for cruise ships. This is also for just people who are going through Venice. They launched a tourism tax study, and they started it in, I believe it was April, and they finished it in July. They were charging €5 per person as the tourism tax. They raised 2.4 million euros in that 3 and a bit months period. So now they're talking about doubling it. I mean, why not? Like, if people are happy to pay it, well, maybe they're not happy to pay it, but if people are willing to pay it in order to see Venice, and honestly, €10 is not a huge amount. I mean, if you're a family of 4, then, that's all going to start to, add up, especially if you go on a cruise to Barcelona and then you go on a beginning and after trip to Venice, and you've got these taxes, then, that is going to start to add up. But, what a great way for the city to make extra profits. Oh, an adult-only cruise. No, I'd love to, though. That would be Virgin. I don't know if any of the other cruise lines are. So are you saying yes, that you've done? I thought you, Tammy, you were on. I thought you would have been on Princess when you sailed in Europe. Or are you just saying yes to going to Europe? I think I would definitely like to go. And I'd like to go, like I said, sooner than later because, as things continue to change with the tourism and stuff like that, it's going to be harder and harder, and I think also more expensive. But that said, I would also not travel during the peak of summer. I have the luxury of being able to travel whenever. So, yeah. Yeah, I would vote for that for next year for sure. For sure. Tammy and I have about 8 vacation plans for next year. We've got 1 booked so far. But now it's a case of coordinating with the spouses and making it all come together. But yeah, I think it's fun to plan this stuff, and it's nice to be able to go whenever we want. I mean, we don't have kids. And I know for families, it's a little bit more restrictive. You have to go during summer break. But if you can travel whenever you want to, then the shoulder seasons, although the weather isn't going to be as hot at the same time, I mean, all the hotel rooms in Europe are tiny. And if you want a hotel with air conditioning and a king bed, then that starts to add up. So rather travel in the shoulder season when, maybe you don't necessarily need a room with air conditioning. But I don't know, that's just something to consider. So yeah, lots going on. By the way, I am curious. I have a question for you. What percent of Canadians, A, or Americans, B, do you think own a passport? I should have asked this right at the beginning. But let me know in the comments below what percent of Canadians and Americans you think have, well, like what percentage of all Canadians do you think have a passport, and what percentage of Americans do you think? And don't Google it, no cheating. But I'm curious what you think, what the answer is, because I will tell you in a second. But I'll wait for. I know Tammy's going to give an answer on this one. Okay, Lindsay is saying 70% of Canadians and 45% of Americans. Interesting. Frenchie's saying 40% of Americans. Angelo, if he has time to answer, I know he will. Oh, Dean's saying 60-40. Tammy is saying, oops, where did I go? Oh, Angela's saying 70 compared to 30. And Frenchie's, okay, yeah, fair enough. Tammy says 75 and 50. Oh, Brock, hey, how are you doing? Brock is saying 35%. Okay, so in fact, as of 2024, for Canada, 67% of Canadians own, or in possession of a passport. As far as Americans go, it is actually 48%. So I think closest was Tammy and Lindsay was pretty close, 70 and 43. 70 and 40, 43, 70 and 45 was Lindsay's answer. And yeah, and then Tammy was next closest. Or Tammy was, 75 and 50. So you guys were all really close. But yeah, it's interesting when you take a look at overall as a country, how many people have passports. Very, very interesting. And also worth noting that I think, I haven't looked up the numbers, but I think for Mexico, it's actually way, way lower. So yeah. Oh, where's the and yeah. America. Love it. All right, so that's all I have for you for today. So thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and please hit that like button before you leave. It really helps out the channel. Thank you for all the comments today. It's always fun to chat with you guys about travel stuff. I do have a question for you. I've been contacted by somebody with respect to teaching English in a foreign country, like doing this as a job, not necessarily full-time, but maybe like as a stint, where you could go and, for example, you could go and live in Thailand or Cambodia for an X amount of time and teach English. So this woman's contacted me. She owns a company that does this, and she thought it would be an interesting video. I'm curious if you think you would be interested in watching something like that. I mean, maybe not at this age, but I think 20 years ago, I probably would have been very interested in doing something like that. As I say, not necessarily now. I'm a bit more fussy when it comes to my travel. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting concept, but let me know what you think. Is that something that you'd be interested in learning more about? Or is it just like no, just drop it. Stick with the regular videos. Let me know what you think. So thanks for tuning in today, you guys. I really appreciate it. It was great to get that update from Roxanne about the Hyatt Vivid. I really appreciate her taking the time out of her precious vacation time to give us the update. And if you're watching, happy anniversary again. Hope you guys are having a lovely day, enjoying the beach club at the Hyatt Vivid. And I hope you have a fabulous dinner tonight. So yeah, we will be back again next Wednesday with more fun travel topics. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like button. And oops. Oh, cool concept. Wouldn't watch that. Fair enough. Hey, honesty is great. That's all I'm looking for. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, appreciate the update. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like, why not, right? It's all travel related, and it's kind of interesting. It's not always going to appeal to everybody, but um, you know, some stuff you watch and other stuff, it's like, oh, skip that one, watch the next one. But it's all good. It's all good. So thanks for tuning in today, you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for taking time out of your day and joining us for our weekly travel talk. And like I said, I'll have the full edited video of my interview with Roxanne. I'll have that posted for later this week. So stay tuned for that. And a little bit more info about what's happening. Oh, interesting. Oh, there we go. Very interesting. She taught overseas. Cool. I know, 5K. Yes. Oh, cool. Oh, thanks, Lindsay. I appreciate that. Yeah, the sea legs are great. They have a great channel too. So if you haven't already checked them out, as she said, there's sea leg journeys, and they have a lot of fun too on their lives. Yes. And have a great rest of your day too. Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to leave it at that. I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.